Shabbat shalom, my friends. Shabbat shalom. I'm about to do something I don't usually do. Bear with me. A poem of Chaim Nachman Bialik. Hachama me rosha ilanot nistalka bo uvenetze likrat Shabbat hamalka hine hi yoredet hakdosha habarucha ve'ima malachim tzva shalom umenucha. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather together the Sabbath, the Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. It's Shabbos. Even with my singing, it's Shabbos. A Shabbos of peace is available to us. Really. It's here now more powerful than any breaking news report on cable. We can breathe it in. We can smell a baking challah. We can hear the joyous melodies with our hearts. We can feel the presence of all of those who ever have been precious to us. We can taste the chicken or the chont, or even their vegan or dairy-free equivalents. And despite the fact that as Shabbos begins, I chose to almost sing in public something which I have promised forever never to do. A special shout out to Cantor Mark Childs in Santa Barbara. Mark, you are a beautiful friend. Thanks for your help this week. Our Sedra Vayera, Genesis 18:1 and following. I have been researching and writing a very serious article for publication in a learned journal. It's exhausting, but it's also kind of exhilarating. It'll be even more exhilarating when I finally submit my essay to the publisher. The focus of my essay is this question: when did individualism become co-equal with the needs of the collective in Judaism? That is boring, right? It is boring. But think about it for a moment. The Torah makes clear that the collective will bear the brunt of the sins of individuals. Some of the people sin, say for example at the golden calf, but almost everybody is going to end up paying a price. In the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, Abram, you know this, gets involved with a negotiation with God about the fact that there are some sinners. Why must some of the good be punished along with the evil? What is this business of collective punishment? Later on, much later on, the prophets will come up with statements like, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. Who's in charge of shaping our fate? By the end of the Second Temple period, we were being taught that our future, our destiny lies in our individual hands. That's a big change. And to make that doctrine properly function, the rabbis crafted a radical remake of what they had come to understand about heaven and hell. Two places where it is the individual and the individual alone who stands before God in judgment. But to be held morally accountable, we really must be free. We must actually be free. It's not just a feeling of being free. Actually free. We must be able to chart our own course through life and then take responsibility for our decisions. I have to tell you that our teachers of old felt a little bit queasy here, a little bit uncertain. If we claim to be free, that means that the all-knowing God cannot know in advance what we will decide. Are you with me on that? If we're really free, God can't know in advance what we will choose. before we in fact act. If one insists that God knows in advance what we're going to choose, then it cannot be that we have any capacity to change our minds regarding that which God already knows. We cannot change God. So where then is our freedom on the flip side? Can we even begin to understand what it means when we say, well, God didn't know? The system of religious thought known as theism obviously has no room for an omniscient God who just happens at that moment not to know what's going on. That's not how omniscience works. What we are left with, if we are traditional theists, is what I call the collapse of language. So people will say, well, the way that God knows things is not the same way as how we know things. What God knows will happen in advance of its happening does not in any way control our capacity to change and to decide how to act. My friends, that is a philosophical rabbit hole into which I do not choose to jump. I can't and I won't. In our text, Abraham hears God calling, Avraham! So of course, Avram Avinu, our first patriarch, responds with a self-assured, Hineni, here I am. What's up, God? And when God tells Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, there is no recorded objection. Just a total surrender to the divine will. Later, when Isaac, as his perilous situation is beginning to dawn slowly upon him, calls out to his father for an explanation. Avi, hey Dad, what's going on? Abraham once again answers, Hineni b'ni, hi, here I am. What's up, kid? Isaac then asks, what's happening? And Abraham feeds him an answer so confusing that not only did Isaac not comprehend, none of us could either. So, was Abraham actually free to decide how to respond to God's order to kill his own son? And was Isaac actually free to determine how to respond to his father's murderous intent? Are any of us really free? Ever? Really? And the first lesson here from me anyway is no. We are never totally free. Does the collective ever suffer because of the sins of the few? My answer, my personal answer, maybe yours, absolutely yes. You know, we can die from secondhand smoke. And we can fall ill because of the failure of others to wear face masks, or their failure to protect the environment within which we live, eat, and breathe. And the multiple traumas and multiple joys that we experience throughout life forever affect how we choose to live our lives. I watched a very close friend move toward his death. I watched my sister move toward her death. I don't want to die the way they died. My choices over my end time, to the extent that I might have any choices, are never going to be totally free of what I have already experienced. But there's this. My freedom to choose requires me to be aware precisely of all of those memories or connections or demands that impact my life. I have to be aware that I carry that within me when I attempt to make a free choice. No theistic God is in charge of me. but neither am I as free as so many philosophers try to show me that I am. I am not free to ignore all of those forces that shape my mind and my soul and my body, but I am free to the fullest extent of my ability to grapple with those forces, to wrestle with them, to push back against them, even to choose to surrender to them. I am aware that I have made poor choices in life. I am aware that I've also made some pretty great choices. I am aware that there are some others who have deeply, deeply injured me, scarred me. I am aware that I have been blessed with so many loving and caring family members and friends. I am aware, and this is very hard to share with you privately, that I harbor a deep secret place which has little faith in the innate goodness of humanity. It's a little place. I am aware that so many times I have witnessed, read about, and experienced the unbelievable goodness of so many. I am aware that those who have come before me over thousands of years have limited my world and have expanded my world. And with such an awareness in hand, I have a broad expanse of freedom within which to make the choices that will define my life. When I choose to do good, it will be my choice and no one else's, despite all of that past. And I like it this way. The sun on the treetops no longer does shine. Choose to have a beautiful, restful Shabbat. Choose to accept the challenge in our Sedra to rebuild our world. A challenge deserving of our passion. Let's choose wisely. Let's choose well. Let's not blame others. Let's not succumb to the power of others. And by the way, with all of that choosing, let's choose to be back together again next week, safely, as now we welcome the Sabbath bride. Shabbat shalom, my friends. Shabbat shalom.